Welcome to Rooted in Purpose with Donna, a podcast designed to help you grow beyond your stuck potential through faith, leadership, legacy, and growth. Because some of the most powerful growth in life happens underground. Now let's grow together. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Rooted in Purpose. I'm Donna, and I'm so thankful that you've chosen to spend the next few minutes with me today. Have you ever looked around and wondered why it seems like everyone else is moving ahead while you're standing still? Maybe you've prayed, maybe you've worked hard and you've stayed faithful, and yet the opportunity just simply hasn't come. The breakthrough hasn't happened. The answer still hasn't arrived. Most of us call that the waiting season. But what if heaven calls it something different? What if you're not simply waiting? What if you're being developed? Today, I want us to look beyond the destination and discover something that many of us miss. Because I don't believe that the process is simply about getting you somewhere. I believe it's about making you into someone. One of the greatest misconceptions that we have is believing that success reveals who we are. It doesn't. Pressure does. Disappointment does. Correction, waiting, all of that does. When life doesn't go according to plan, something interesting happens. Whatever we've been leaning on begins to show itself. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's control. Maybe it's approval, or maybe it's your own timeline. Those things don't suddenly appear. They were already there. The process simply brings them to the surface. It's a lot like refining gold. The fire doesn't create the impurities. The fire reveals them so they can be removed. And sometimes the season you've been asking God to end is the very season that He's using to reveal what He wants to heal. That changes the way that we look at hard seasons, doesn't it? Instead of asking, God, why am I here? Maybe we begin asking, God, what are you showing me about my heart? I think about Joseph. He dreamed of leading a nation. But before the palace came, there was a pit. There was slavery. There was prison. Was God delaying Joseph? No. God was enlarging him. Because the weight of the assignment always requires the strength to carry it. Imagine giving a 10-year-old the keys to a semi-truck. The truck isn't bad. The child simply isn't ready. And sometimes we ask God for greater influence or greater opportunities, greater impact. And God lovingly answers, I'm preparing you to carry it well. That isn't rejection. That's protection. And this is the part that has challenged me the most. We spend so much of our lives praying for God to change our circumstances, but often He's changing us. It's the process that transforms identity. We pray, and God, change my situation, and He whispers, I'm changing your perspective. We pray, make me successful, and He says, I'm teaching you faithfulness. We pray, open the next door, and He says, I'm strengthening your character. Because here's something that I've learned. What God does through you will never be greater than who He develops within you. Your identity must become strong enough to sustain your calling. Otherwise, success becomes something you have to maintain instead of something that you steward. Can I tell you something that changed my own thinking? Just because nothing looks different doesn't mean nothing is happening. Think about that seed that we talk about all the time. For weeks, you don't see growth, but beneath the soil, roots are forming. The strongest part of the plant develops before anyone ever sees it. And our culture celebrates what is visible, and God often celebrates what is hidden. Hidden obedience, hidden faithfulness, hidden surrender, hidden growth. The roots determine whether the tree can survive the storm. Maybe your life feels quiet right now, and maybe no one sees the growth. but God does. And guess what, my friend? That is enough. As we finish today, I want to leave you with one thought. One day, you'll look back on this season, not because you'll remember how long it took, but because you'll recognize who you became. You'll realize your patience became deeper. Your faith became stronger. Your compassion became richer. Your dependence on God became steadier. And you'll understand something you couldn't see while you were living it. The process was never just preparing your future. It was preparing you. So, my friend, if today feels slow, don't confuse slow with stagnant. Don't mistake hidden for forgotten. And don't assume God's silence means his absence. He is working. He is shaping. He is preparing. And when that time is right, you'll discover that the greatest gift wasn't simply arriving at the destination. It was becoming the person who could faithfully live there. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Until next week, keep growing deeper, keep living on purpose, and remember, the process may be slower than you hoped, but God is never late in preparing you for what he's prepared for you. I'm Donna Barbier. Stay rooted in purpose. Thank you for spending this time with me today on Rooted in Purpose. If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who may need the reminder that growth is still happening, even in the hidden seasons. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so we can continue growing together every week. And until next time, keep growing through every season you're planted in.